And that's why I married you, baby. It wasn't for your brains.
What was it for then?
Those awesome rocking tits, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, it's gonna have to stay like that. Sorry.
Okay, well, as it's past 5:30 now, that means technically this panel should be beginning. So, hello everyone.
Hello.
Actually, more people than I thought, so that's quite amusing if nothing else.
Where's your inspiration, Walter?
I'll be leaving, I'm just leaving the camera.
If anybody wants to buy me a drink at any point
Are
during
you in
this.
room 412?
412, I thought it was 112.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if anyone wants to get me a drink during this, I will be most game for that. But right, welcome to Skits 101. Welcome, latecomer. You're only 30 seconds late, it's fine. We're just going to stare at you till you sit down. Okay, welcome to the Skits panel. Right, so I know how some of you will answer. Has anybody seen anything that I've done before?
Unfortunately.
There's that lawsuit going through.
Grief. What?
Was it just you?
Yeah, it was just him. Remember when he thanked you guys last time Jim Award and he thanked John Star's ass?
Thanks, Gunstar's Vixen's ass.
Yeah, my wife makes a good one. Has anything seen anything that Team Giblets has done before? Because team does imply more people, and a lot of people do.
I thought the line was there's not an I in team, but there's a me. Now fuck up.
That is a good line. I'm going to have to
How
remember
do you
that.
not know that one, you selfish thing you can?
Let's see if I don't think Rolling Star's been picked up with yours.
It's just how I roll.
And we're 2 minutes in and we've already got the C-bomb on this.
Well, it's an over 18 convention. We can say anything we like. We like that.
Titty wank.
Yeah, we can say titty wank as well. Right, so it seems that. Okay, I think a better question: is there anyone who hasn't seen a Team Giblets skit yet?
Shame on you!
One man.
I'm not getting
He's like, why the fuck am I here?
Blame him.
Are you wearing two odd socks and two odd shoes?
I certainly am.
My hat comes off to you, sir.
Three shoes!
Okay, well, Team Giblets has been doing skits at conventions since Aya 2005, actually. So Aya is a sort of spiritual home for that bullshit. And yeah, don't snark so much. But yeah, we've done a lot of skits over the years, whether people have wanted us to or not. Right, so I think I should probably get into some kind of structure on this. Right, first things first. Do any of you actually have an interest in doing any kind of skit performance at all?
Yeah!
I already do one.
So people do. Okay, well, I'm going to go into first things like ideas, inspiration, and why you want to do it for a start. I mean, can I just ask that those who want to do a skit at a convention, if you could just shout out why you want to do that.
Money!
Cock!
General insanity.
General insanity?
Liz? For the lols.
For the lols.
Blackjack and hookers.
Blackjack and hookers, always good.
Respect.
For a bet.
Respect.
Respect. Respect that don't make a convention. Come on now. What bullshit is this? Okay, Molly, why do you do it?
Because what else would 4chan talk about?
That is a good point. 4chan is a horrible, horrible place for conventions.
Especially
Jesus.
since you go on the threads. Learning is a fat trick.
No, ironic, I look at 4chan, but I don't actually comment because that is the way to madness and despair.
You've looked into the abyss.
When I was looking at a thread on 4chan about Ayacon actually, and this did cut me deeply because somebody commented Team Giblets is okay, and then some fucker commented afterwards, no, Team Giblets ceased to be funny 2 years ago when they stopped giving a shit. And I was like,
No, we stopped giving a shit. Does it show?
Yeah, kind of.
Did you ever give a shit?
well, we never give a shit, but we do try hard. We try so hard.
You mean give a shit what people think about you on the internet? Someone's wrong.
So,
Screw that guy. He's probably in the audience.
Okay, I mean, regardless of whatever insane reason that you want to do a skit at a convention.
You wrote that.
What?
You wrote it, didn't you?
I didn't write that. God, posting on 4chan is a dangerous thing to do. I would never do that. That's...
yeah, it is.
But yeah, regardless of whatever personal reasons you may have to do a skit, at the end of the day, whatever you're hoping to get out of it, you still have to entertain an audience, which is a really shitty responsibility to have to do. Because Yeah, has anyone...
Good point.
Well, yeah, I mean, all the abuse that's coming out here, basically, that is an audience for you. They're irreverent cunts who will, try and chip in at any point. I'm looking at all of you.
It's probably a bit worse than a normal audience.
To be honest, you've pretty much got the perfect sample of grade A ass hattery in this room.
Yeah, there's a lot of ass hat in this room.
Trying to fire here.
Throwing up the horns in the front there.
Go on with it.
All right. I've got plenty of time, Jesus.
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock already.
Oh, that'd be good, but it's not. See, the time's on this thing. I can see it in the
Oh,
corner.
well, shit. Go on with it.
Okay, right. So, yes, you want to do a skit, Lord knows why. Well, yeah, that's a proviso, I should say at the beginning. Though there's many different sorts of skits, this presentation is biased towards video presentations because that is what we do. Yeah, we're sad like that. I also... Don't take this as gospel either, because at the end of the day, I don't have any real drama experience. I'm not a stage performer. I'm just going to relate to you shit that seems to work, so just roll with that. Shut up, woman, shut up. If anybody does have any questions during the presentation, just stick up your hand and I will...
Dave.
All right, Dave.
Why did you stop giving a shit?
I stopped giving a shit when I realised that all these, you know what, it's just all these 18-year-olds now. I'm old guard, apparently, so fuck all of that.
When Sailor Moon came out.
I think the most depressing thing I had was at NomCon last year, where somebody asked us to explain how my angst requires a giant mecha t-shirt. And they're like, what's angst? And I was like, well, you know Shinji in Evangelion. And he's like, what's Evangelion? Well, it gets better, because Claire was
He
like,
dodged a bullet.
well, Claire was like, be fair, Keith, it's an old show, it's 16 years old. And then this kid says, I'm 16. And I'm like, oh, dead inside. But yeah, that's the proviso. I have no stage experience, I'm just relating to shit that seems to work. Okay, when you're coming up with whatever performance you want to do at a convention, that can be very, very roughly divided into about 4 different categories. Comedy, which is what we specialise in. Dramatic, which nobody does in the UK, but I feel I should probably mention it, because everywhere else in the world it seems to be a
You
big
only
thing.
get 3 minutes, and if you're not singing, dancing, or being me or you, they go, no, you won't be any good.
To be fair.
No, there are such things as good dramatic skits, because if nothing else, the time limits in the States means that people have to get really fucking creative.
You've got to pick your venue for a dramatic thing. I think if it took off in a big way, they'd probably make their own event for it and not have it in the OMK, because otherwise it'd be like a 20-minute thing.
Well, that's the thing. If anybody ever really wants to make a name for themselves in the convention circuit, do a good dramatic
But you
skit.
want to get it in, you've got to get it past the guys, you know what I mean?
That said, if you are looking to make a name for yourself on the convention circuit, why? That is the worst reason to be doing this kind of
Be a
bullshit.
doctor or something.
I mean, to be honest, we do the skits because we're egomaniacs, but at the end of the day, it's about entertaining people. That whatever you do, it should be about entertaining people.
Not just your mates, everyone.
Yeah, not just your mates, everyone else. So yeah, comedy, dramatic, dance acts, and singing acts. That's pretty much what we can roughly divide it down into. Traditionally, I've not been a dance act fan, but I've actually been turned around by some very encouraging performances over at NomCon.
Yeah, I know, right? That was crazy.
Because they actually know how to put on an entertaining dance act, so I'll probably be showing one of those later. Yeah, we've got videos, it's great, multimedia presence.
I'm as surprised as you are.
Okay, first stage of doing any kind of thing at a convention. It's the most important stage, and it's the one I can give you the least fucking help on. It is coming up with an idea, because the process of coming up with an idea is a strange and nebulous business.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you decide to do, I mean, to be honest, I always keep a notebook on me, so whenever I'm, in my alcoholic binges and an idea pops in my head, I scrawl it down on the notepad so that later when I'm sober, and I'm looking at that picture of a cat and I'm wondering why I drew it. It's like,
Why has it got a giant penis?
yeah, why does the cat have a giant penis? It's because it relates in a skit to some way, so it's good for any creative art, really, to have some kind of notebook to have to jot down ideas, because if you come up with a good idea, you will inevitably forget it about 10 minutes later. So jot that shit down. So however you come up with an idea, that's an entirely personal process. For me, it involves a lot of quality sitting on the toilet time, because that's when I'm most relaxed. Totally is. Just sitting there going, ah. Yeah, that personal revelation aside. When you come up with an idea, A good thing to do is probably to check online to see if it's been done before. Your best friend for this is YouTube. So if you can't find it straight away when you do a basic search on YouTube, it's either hasn't been done or it's been done so few times that it's still roughly original enough that you can get away with it. So yeah, just roll with that. Don't know where my wife's gone. But yeah, as I said, I mean, coming up with an idea is a really bitchy thing to do. I honestly can't give you any help with that. As I said, it's a very personal thing because everybody's mind works in different fashions. But when you do come up with an idea, check if it's original or not, because there's nothing worse than doing a performance that everybody has seen before, or worse yet, if you're at a convention where everybody... Thank you, wife. So everybody seems to be doing the same thing. So yeah, check that shit out beforehand. So, moving on, we're going to get into the rough business of putting a skit together, however it might be. As I said, any questions, put up your hands. Right, when you've come up with an idea, you've got to then think what's the best way to present this to an audience. Because depending on what you do, I mean, you've got to think of format, things like, would it be better, maybe some kind of TV show thing, a presentation, dramatic dance, you know, whatever floats your boat. Yeah, having done that, who hasn't turned off their phone? I'm terribly rude, sir. I'm terribly rude. He's not going to be interested. Yeah, because the first thing you do, once you come up with your idea, you have to write that shit down.
Got that.
Hmm?
You got that. You can, yeah.
No, I'm not talking about general ideas. It's once you've got the idea, you actually have to develop it into something that might actually be entertaining for an audience.
Oh, but what do you mean?
Yeah.
Invisible prompt.
Oh, so much griefing.
Well, you are basically the comedy equivalent of a pity fuck, so...
Oh.
How long have you been storing that one up?
She's on standing quite a lot.
Dude, I'd be annoyed if it wasn't for the fact you're obviously so jealous of my rampant comedy manliness.
Okay, let's not do this now.
Yeah.
Seriously, let's not do this. Come on.
Yeah, because we'll start doing the sand people noise, and then it all goes downhill.
Yeah, it all goes
That sounds
downhill.
fantastic.
Right, so yeah, once you come up with your idea, you've actually got to extend it out into some kind of actual script because, especially if you've got people involved in what you're doing, they really appreciate knowing what the fuck's going on. So write that down into a coherent script. When you're doing that, consider how long it's going to be, because regardless of what convention you go to, it's probably worth checking beforehand what the convention guidelines are for any kind of skit entry. So check out things of what you can and can't do, running times. Because I mean, as a general rough and fast rule, most conventions like you have got a 3-minute skit time, between 3 and 5 minutes. So to be honest, you should probably aim for the 3-minute mark. On that subject, as people who've seen our shit before know, everything I say, I've broken the rules for everything. Just do as I say, not as I do, because I'm a really poor example of how to follow things.
Sometimes we'll find that people won't mind if we're 30 seconds over or a minute over, but we don't want to bank on that. It's never a good idea to bank on that because we might come up against, like, Ayacon might go, yeah, you can have 10 minutes, no problem. And the next time we go to Ayacon, they're like 3 minutes or you're out, you know, so you don't want to get...
Yeah, that's why it just gets 10 minutes long. It's too long.
Yeah.
Too long.
Errors rising.
Right?
Errors rising.
Errors Rising wasn't 10 minutes long. Look at the video.
Yeah, it took me 2 points. You're allowed to have 10 minutes on YouTube.
Yeah, that's only because you include all the before bit and all the after bit. If you just cut it down to the bits where we're actually there,
The
it's
best
only about
example of
7.
one that went out
do you
stage
have your
welcome was the keep the rain skit.
Yeah, actually that's a good point. Right, what we're going to do, because you've got to keep within time limits, I'm going to show you the first part of one of our skits that got a bit out of control. It was an opening video for Hecklers.
Because that was when you got your Lifetime Achievement Award.